Oh, well, just as we were all preparing to shovel dirt on the grave of the Texas Rangers, this happened. Not just this game, this entire homestand. Hi there, and welcome into the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan here. It's a post-game edition. We've got the Queen Cat back in the good old US of A and back at the helm here. So we're glad to have her and thrilled to have you too after an unbelievable win by the Rangers. A 20-3 game, 20 runs on 22 hits for the Rangers. Of course, no errors, and just 3 runs on 7 hits for the Angels tonight, who really had a tough go of it from start to finish. This one was ugly from the perspective of the Halos, but really awesome and fun for a Rangers team that is about to hit the road. They finished the homestand 5-1, and we said, Jeff and I said on the show way back at the beginning, after another rough road trip that they'd had, leading into this, we're like, well, it's probably not going to be a possibility, but if they go 5-1 or 6-0 on the homestand, we might change our tune. And to be honest with you, even though they were off to a pretty good start on the homestand with the sweep and then, winning last night, but really once we heard yesterday that Nathan Eovaldi was going to be out for the rest of the season, and this rotator cuff we hadn't heard anything about prior. Once we heard that, it became even more bleak, right? And yet, here they are. Here they are, having lost so many players on the course of this homestand. We found out that Marcus Semien was out for the season on this homestand. We found out, that Evan Carter was out for the season. Not long before that, John Gray out for the season. All these big-name players, and in most cases, these veteran players out for the year, and yet somehow the Rangers find the fortitude, the fight, and the fire to do what they did on this homestand. So really good performance by them. They sweep the Guardians of Cleveland, and then they take 2 out of 3 from the Angels. These are likely teams that you would say, leading in, these are teams that they should beat. So they did. Now, they hit the road, and they face teams that they should beat. So they better, right? They haven't done that on the road. We'll talk lots more about that as we get to the road trip a little bit later on in the program. Lots to talk about from this game right off the top. Jeff will join us from Globe Life Field as he brings us post-game reaction. He'll probably join in the next segment. And then there's a lot happening around the world of baseball tonight, too. Other things to talk about. We want to hear from you in the chat. We'll give us our thoughts, give you our thoughts on your thoughts as we continue throughout the night as well. So, but what a good game it was for the Rangers, to need, it was called a bullpen day, but I will say this, the narrative is becoming that Jacob Latz is becoming, if not already, a starting pitcher and a member of this starting rotation. And so many people were wondering, hey, what about Kumar Rocker? We talked to Boach about Rocker today. He's still in Arizona. He's working on something mechanical, sort of some fine-tuning. Boach said that he's not even sure exactly what that is. I'm not sure that that's the case, but he may be, not wanting to divulge exactly what that is. But I will say he's not going to be a possibility if he's not even pitching for one of the minor league affiliates right now, right? He's not going to be a guy that you can look for to enter this starting rotation probably during the rest of the regular season. So enter Jacob Latz, who's done it several times before. Don't forget that on the 20th of July, he faced the Tigers in a situation like this, and he threw 5 innings. And remember that road trip to Baltimore, a really good trip for the Rangers. He had 6 innings of one-hit baseball. He had a no-hitter going through 5 in that game. So, Jacob Latz has shown us that he can do this previously, and with very little notice in this case. He didn't have the normal time to build up toward being a starter. With very little notice, Jacob Latz came in there, and he really performed. Now, he didn't go quite long enough to get the victory in this one, and it's too bad. I wish that he had. But he goes 4 1/3, allowing 4 runs on 2 hits and I'm sorry, 2 runs on 4 hits, that is, and then just the 1 walk and the 5 Ks. So, and you know what? Big, tall, lanky, smart pitcher, working both sides of the plate, hitting his spots beautifully. Lefty, that's a given. He's a left-handed pitcher, so that's a really good thing. So really fun to see Jacob Latz doing what he did. Jeff is trying to get, and has been trying to get Boch to admit that Latz is a part of the starting rotation, and asked it again today, and Boch goes, well, he's pitching tonight, so I guess he's a part, but he doesn't want to commit to that, at least not yet, long term. Jacob Latz did everything he can do to help ensure that will become a possibility. And it was a little disappointing, again, against a team or for a team like the Rangers, who it seems like often when they give up 1 run early in the game, their record is so much better when they score first versus when the opponent does. It's probably true for every team, but it's very drastic with the Rangers. So, here's Latz giving up a run on back-to-back doubles. He got 2 strikeouts in that first inning, and then back-to-back doubles by Taylor Ward and Joe Adell, and it's 1-0. And there have been so many games where you felt like, oh no, okay, well shoot, that's a lot for this offense to overcome. Not tonight, baby. Not tonight. Not against Kohanowicz. That poor kid. He really had to wear it. He gives up 4 runs, in the first inning alone. And that was a walk to Wyatt, a single by Corey, a homer by Adolis, and then Jock Peterson basically reaches on an error, and he is driven home by Josh Young. So 4 runs across the plate in the 4th inning, and you really did feel like it was over at that point. And I'm sure Kohanowicz kept looking over to the dugout on the third base side going, is it over for me yet? Is it over for me yet? And it wasn't. Not for a long time. He ends up going, 3 1/3. But I think they would have liked for him to go longer. He had a 1-2-3 inning in the third, with the bottom, third of the order. But then he came right back in that 4th inning, and he couldn't get anybody out. So the Rangers, just attacked offensively and took advantage of a guy who was really struggling tonight. And then, of course, so in 2 innings tonight, the Rangers, in 3 innings tonight, the Rangers sent at least 9 to the plate. In the first inning, they sent an even 9. In the 4th inning, they sent an even 9. And then in that 7th inning, but again, against position players, but still in that 7th inning, when they had 8 runs on 8 hits, the Rangers send 12 men to the plate. So that almost became comical. I heard, Dave and Mike saying, I don't know if I really want to laugh at it, though. At some point, you almost feel a little bit bad for these position players who are just out there sort of trying and hoping they can get somebody out. The Angels are clearly, out of starting pitchers. They're just out. And the best thing they could do for Kohanowicz right now is to not make him pitch anymore, but they may have to, right? And you heard Bassick talking about it. I mean, this could be devastating for that young man's confidence going forward. But the confidence and the feelings of Jacob Latz have to be good tonight, because he really did a great job. All the Rangers did, and in fact, the starting pitchers on the entire homestand, the starting staff, 3.5 runs allowed and 47 strikeouts and only 6 walks. Are you kidding me? That is the best homestand for starting a starting rotation, going through it, twice basically, or once and a half. That's the best homestand the Rangers have ever had, and the results showed it. As we mentioned, 5-1 on the homestand, so that was fantastic. Really nice to see guys like Corey Seager get a rest tonight. It's been difficult to find rest days for him. They really haven't been able to use him at designated hitter much lately, and they haven't been able to get him any off days. So to get Corey out after the fourth inning was really good, and he'd done some damage by that point. He had a single, a walk, and a home run. So a perfect night for Corey Seager. He scored 3 runs himself in this game and accounted for all that offense as well. So a really good night for Corey and a really good opportunity with an off day tomorrow to give him more than half of this game off tonight. The Rangers really, throughout the course of this homestand, hit the ball. Other than that Monday night game, they were hitting the ball so well throughout the course of this homestand. And I will say this, and I hate it when, I just don't want to say too often, well, you got to tip your hat to the opposing pitcher. But Boch said it after the Soriano performance on Monday night, and he brought it up again today. And I think that speaks volumes, right? I think that means that Boch really felt like this guy, who's a good pitcher and has been good, and, although not always against the Rangers, but he's a good pitcher. But he's not that, right? But he just really was really, really good on Monday night. Rangers couldn't touch him, and so it's the only game of the homestand they lose. But it really did feel like, here we go again. I tweeted that night from the main account, wait a minute. Have I seen this game before? Is this a rerun? Because it kind of felt like so many games that we've seen throughout the course of the season. Tonight, it felt like no other games that we've seen throughout the course of the season. The Rangers haven't put up 20 runs in a game this year. They haven't put up 22 hits in a game this year. So really fun for the offense, and you keep your fingers crossed that they can keep it going on this road trip. And look, they're going to feel good about themselves, and it'll make the trip to Sacramento a much better trip. They're leaving tonight. And while they do have an off day tomorrow, they're still going to get in very late there. Jacob Webb comes in to relieve Latz. He goes an inning and 2/3 with no damage at all. Luis Curvelo got the first 2 that he faced and then struggled a little bit. But I love the point that Mike Bassick was making, which is to say that you need these learning experiences, right? I mean, you've got to finish an inning. And what Curvelo did is he struck out the first 2, and then he walked a guy. He gave up a single and a double, and then ultimately struck out the side. But that leads, result is 2 hits and a run scored, as well as a walk in that inning as well. So for Curvelo, but good growth, good process by him. Armstrong, who warmed up about 15 times last night, came in and he put up all zeros, and then Bosley finished it off for the Rangers with a very solid 9th inning. As they got a hit. Christian Moore got a hit off him, but he was erased on a double play to end it. So all around, a great performance by the pitchers, a great performance by the offense. And I asked Boch prior to the game today, I said, are you a believer, and in your experience, your vast experience, does that backs against the wall mentality really work, right? Is it really there? Is there anything to it? And he said, yes, I absolutely believe it works. And he goes, I absolutely believe that's what's happening with us right now. And he said, and that's the way we have to play, which is pretty obvious, but that attitude, it needs to persist, right? It needs to carry forward onto the road, and they need to play with that, backs against the wall, us against the world mentality, because that's the only way they're realistically going to get back into this thing. The road trip isn't extremely difficult on paper, right? As you look at the 2 opponents, but things get much tougher after that for the Rangers, who still have a lot of tough baseball left to play. So you really need to take advantage of this road trip and this momentum and keep it going as they head first to Sacramento for a weekend series against the Athletics, and then down to the desert where they will face a team that, pretty much sold everything, kind of went on a fire sale there at the trade deadline in the Arizona Diamondbacks. So that's what's next for the Rangers. What's next for us is to hear from Jeff and hear just how the mood is, the vibe is there, excuse me, in the Rangers clubhouse, because I'm sure they're feeling pretty good, and they should. It's a game like they haven't had at all during the course of this season. We get to that and lots more as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast. Oh, but first, we've got to tell you about my friend Nicole at Game Time. We're really selling the MLB games in August. Unfortunately for the Rangers, there aren't any more of those. But I got to tell you what happened yesterday. My son's looking for NHL tickets. He's going to visit family in Buffalo in early October. He looked them up. He said, "Hey, Dad, I found 2 tickets in section 101 for $330." I go, "Oh, that's a pretty good price." I said, "Is that on the Game Time or on the box office?" He goes, "Oh, Game Time. I forgot." He was on one of the other ones. Went to Game Time, found tickets in the same row, same section, $189 for 2. Saved him $140 because of Game Time. That's what Game Time does. So do yourself a favor and get that Game Time app. You will save money. You will love it. You can buy tickets in Buffalo, even if you're here, wherever you want to be, wherever you want to see a game. Game Time has them for you. And you'll want to be very well represented when you go to any of these games. So might as well get a branded Bills hat, right? You can wear any kind of hat they have, a snapback, a trucker, a fitted, a beanie, or a tee. They've got you covered with performance and style, and they've got it with your favorite teams on there. And if they don't, they'll create something. Your exact custom apparel will be created for you by brandedbills.com. So they've got a partnership with 40 colleges as part of their campus collection. We've mentioned before TCU, Texas Tech, and Texas. A big game for the Longhorns this weekend. How about that, though? Starting out on the road at Ohio State. First #1 ranked team in the preseason poll ever to be an underdog in their first game. But anyway, that should be a fun one. Head to brandedbills.com. Use the code BBDLLS for 15% off. That's Branded Bills in front of DLLS, right? BBDLLS. 15% off your first order at Branded Bills. All right, so a good win for the Rangers, and they get over 500 again. They're at 68 and 67, and you cringe and you shudder to think about where this team could be if they had, performed like this basically at any point this season on the road. They have not been able to find this sort of momentum, this sort of inertia. These games like they had today on the road. It's confounding. I mean, there is just no doubt about that. It's difficult to imagine how this team can be this good sometimes at home and as bad as we've seen them playing sometimes on the road. And I'm just looking at the post-game notes that came down from the Rangers. Rangers scored their most runs and totaled their most hits, get this, since 2011. It was way back in July of 2011 that the Rangers had this many runs and this many hits in a game. That was a Minnesota game where they scored 20 runs and had 27 hits in that game. They won it 20-6. You see Jeff's joining us now, having just come from down there. And what I assume, Jeff, was probably a pretty happy, fired up clubhouse.
Yeah, and they were busy. They're leaving for Sacramento tonight. So that's how they get to celebrate the win. And I'm sure that's exactly what they all want.
Yeah,
3-hour flight. But they realize what they've done here. They went 5-1. They had to, and they did it. In the face of some serious adversity with the injuries, probably Evaldi the absolute gut punch.
Yeah,
and like our thumbnail said, they're still standing. I mean, they still have work to do, but they're back above 500. They're scoring runs. I'm only going to count the first 12 tonight.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not counting the other eight.
Yeah.
But still, 12 runs is a hell of an output. And and they got the pitching all homestand. The bullpen had the one hiccup in the opener, but the Rangers overcame that. And with the exception of one game, they did well at the plate. So this might be as well as they've played, and they need to continue that. And that's the challenge now. They have to go out on the road and win games. And we talked to Jock Peterson, who had the 3-run homer there in the second inning. He said that they need to set the goal of winning at least 5 of the 6 games, if not sweeping the whole road trip.
Wow.
And it's like, all right, how do you do that? I mean, that's something that this team just
hasn't done.
Has really struggled to do. And he said, keep playing with energy. He gave the young guys a acknowledgement for the energy they've brought up since coming up, like Cody Freeman, Mr. Energy himself. And then you kind of look at Jock; he's got a 7-game hitting streak. He's doing his part now. So it is good to see. They're having fun. Wyatt Langford is really in a great place right now. So is Adolis Garcia.
Yep.
We were all waiting for Adolis to come out. And, I gave up. If he doesn't want to talk to us that soon, when everybody else is in the clubhouse, then we don't need to talk to him. But if he's going, if Peterson's going, if Seager is Seager, and if Langford is doing something in the front of the lineup and is on base, 2, 3, 4 times a game, 5 times tonight, you're talking about an offense that's going to score some runs.
Yeah, Wyatt's got a 17-game on-base streak, and he was on base all night long tonight. It's really nice to see Mr. Player of the Month in September get things cranked up in August this year. He's not going to win He's not going to win Player of the Month, but I tell you what, he keeps hitting like he has been. He might have something to say about it in September again. And to your point about Adolis, I mean, it's just been great to see him. I think he's got a hit in every game since he's been back from the injured list. He's hitting the ball out of the ballpark. And Boach talked about it a little bit today, just how he didn't tell him what he needed to do. He just told, he didn't say, you have to do this or else.
Yeah.
But he just kind of had that talk with him to let him know, we still believe in you, but we need you to be you. And it seems like he's a hell of a lot closer to that right now, Jeff, than he has been at any point this season.
Well, you have to know your players, and the Rangers know that Adolis takes the struggles really hard, and Adolis needs reassurance. He needs to be told in a kind way, hey, while you're nursing this injury, why don't you clear your head? Why don't you work on your swing? Why don't you get back to the things that make you great? And instead of, like you said, if you don't do this, you're on the bench, or we're gonna put you on waivers and see if somebody else will pick your sorry butt up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of knowing your players. Ron Washington was great at that, and Bruce Bochy, of course, over all these years has been great at it. And so that's it's not just X's and O's, and when to hit and run, and when to call a pitch out and stuff like that, when to go to the bullpen. It's knowing your players and knowing how to work around their feelings. They all have feelings. Maybe not Corey Seager, but I think the rest of them have feelings. And it's getting to know them, and now this is what Bochy's 3rd year. He's had Adolis for 3 years. He's seen the one of the best players in baseball there, the way he performed in the postseason, and then a guy who was right there toward the bottom offensively. So if they can get Adolis to stay just even at his career norms,
right,
right around 250, right around 300 on base, 500 slug, if he can do those things, they're gonna be better and better off. And then his defense has remained excellent. It's easy to say that, yes, he's been just not good enough offensively, but he hasn't really let him affect him defensively. And when you talk about why the Rangers have such a great ERA, you have to talk about their defense. And,
Sure.
And the pitchers sure do. Even in the ninth inning tonight, that
How about that?
really nice play.
Yeah, it really was. And that was one. I mean, off the bat, I'm like, there's no way he gets to this. You're thinking maybe even, I don't want to say he'd half-ass it, but it's like, whatever. They get a double here. Who cares, right? And he went after it, and that makes a young guy like Bosley feel great.
Sure, and it just all these guys are being evaluated, right? There's no question. We've talked about openly, John, how it may be time for the Rangers to move on from Adolis Garcia, and he may have heard that stuff, he may have read that stuff, but they are evaluating him, and if he finishes strong, if he looks like he's motivated, if he's going to be motivated going into a walk year instead of feeling the pressure of that, then maybe they don't close the door on him. I mean, this is a big month for him. He's got a lot to play for, and if he performs, it's going to help the Rangers stay in this hunt.
Yeah, no doubt. One of the guys that they kind of need to get going from all this great offense we've been talking about is a guy who had been so consistent all year, but Josh Smith remains down just a little bit offensively.
A little bit. He hit a ball hard today.
He did.
Into the right field corner, and I think he was one of the many to get a hit against the position player. So maybe maybe that gets him going. Who knows? But and really with Wyatt doing so well as a leadoff guy, you wonder if Josh continues to struggle, if that doesn't get rectified. He bats lower in the lineup against left-handers, or he sits against them at this point. But if the Rangers could get that going and have one or two guys who are threats to get on base ahead of Corey Seager, which scares every pitcher in the league, and then if Adolis is hitting behind him, there's just something going there. There really can be. Same thing with Jock Peterson. If Jock Peterson's going, it's like, wow, this is what the Rangers expected, on May 1st or April 1st instead of August, whatever today is, the 27th. Now, again, we have a lot more evidence to suggest that's not going to happen, and not to bring everybody down from this great homestand, but they still have a lot to show that they're able to do, and again. They have to do it on the road.
Right.
It's not optional. It has to happen, and it needs to start now.
Yeah, it really does. And as you mentioned, Jock Peterson suggesting that they need to be 5-1 or 6-0 on the road trip. There aren't very many 6-game stretches after this one left where you would suggest that with confidence based on who they're playing, right? I mean, on this road trip, sure, on paper, you should be beating up on both these teams, ideally 5-1, 6-0. But once you start getting into, the likes of the Astros and the Mets and the teams that they still have on their schedule when they get back, the Brewers, right? That you're not saying, we got to be 6-0 against this group, because that's a tall order. Yeah.
And they have 2.5 road trips left, I guess. They have this one.
Yeah.
And they have
that Cleveland one. Yeah.
They have Mets, Astros, and then they have they finished the year on the road against Cleveland. And again, that may be a big series. But I think you just you're right. There aren't a lot of soft spots in the schedule, even when they come home. It's Milwaukee, it's Houston. This is it. You gotta make hay when you can, and there aren't a ton of opportunities to do it, at least record wise. Now,
right.
Rangers have been much better at home. There's no question about that. But and that Marlins Twins, the last home stands a chance to to maybe
Yeah.
breathe a little bit. Though
Sure.
the Twins played really well against the Blue Jays. So it's not saying it's not saying it's impossible, but for them to reach the playoffs, they really have to take advantage of this road trip and then that last homestand, and then just try to survive in between.
As it is, they are flying high after a 20-3 victory to finish up this homestand. 5-1 on the homestand. They hit the road now. The Rangers will be flying high and feeling good until they realize where they're headed, which is Sacramento. We'll talk about that next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. But first, we would like to remind you about something that we've got coming up with our partners at Big Brothers and Big Sisters. This thing is a fantastic opportunity for you to go have a nice cigar and a good drink, free drink, and a quality cigar, and you will have the opportunity to take part in both if you go to our beautiful event on September the 13th, Cigars and Conversations with our partners at Big Brothers and Big Sisters at the Casa de Monte Cristo Lounge. And on that 13th, it goes from 2 until 6 p.m. You'll have all kinds of, community leaders and board members from the Big Brothers and Big Sisters organization. And some of us will be over there, and we'll all be hanging out and talking about a great organization and how you can get involved. There's many ways to do it. Of course, we'd love for you to be a big, as they call it, a big brother or a big sister. But there are many ways to get involved and to help this great organization. So join us on September 13th for our Cigars and Conversations.
Yeah, and this episode is brought to you in part by our friends at Prize Picks, the leading daily fantasy outlet out there. They are number one. The numbers all show it, and everybody wants to be Prize Picks. It's simple to play. You just pick more or less than 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can win cold hard cash. You can win up to 2,000 times your money. Now I haven't done that yet, but you can bet bigger or you can bet little. I'm a little better. I'm doing $3 and $5 bets and having a good time with it. But football season, I know colleges started last weekend with a handful of games, but this weekend, holy cow! Have you seen that slate with Texas at Ohio State and Clemson and LSU? And don't forget the Frogs on Labor Day opening up against Bill Belichick in his first college game. Anyway, prizepicks.com/DLLS. You will get a $50 bonus with your first $5 bet.
Yeah, and speaking of that North Carolina game, Bill Belichick and his granddaughter, girlfriend, are they're leaning in. They're leaning into that gold digger thing. I see they tried to trademark that today because they want to make a jewelry. She wants to make a jewelry line with that. So anyway, it'll be fun. 2 years in the last 3 that the Frogs face like the new coach of college football, Dion a couple of years ago. And, of course, Bill Belichick this year. Hey, so Adolis Garcia had a season high in hits. 4. The last time he did that was back in 23, but also in RBI. The last time he did that also in 2023, and it was 4 hits, 5 RBI. Those happened in May and June in 2023. So that's what we're talking about. That's the Adolis, right, that the Rangers want to see. And who knows, like Jeff said, if they see him for the rest of the year, that could change this narrative that, and we, like you say, we've said it many times, but this narrative's changeable.
It is, again, depending on when everybody gets hot, and it may not happen when you want it to happen, but if it happens, then you got a chance. And they've been holding their head above water. That's about the only thing you can say. And they just finally got it back above. It's 68 and 67. Okay, everybody ahead of them won tonight. Yeah. So they didn't lose any ground. So no. Hey, that's a positive. But they're, for this to happen, they're going to need help. It's yeah, they play the Astros 6 times, and yes, they still have the Guardians there at the end of the season, but they're going to need some help. They're going to need the Mariners to blow some games like they did last night. They're going to need the Astros to swoon and the Royals to swoon, and you know, those things are, again, in a baseball season, it's all possible. You're seeing things that you never thought you'd see this year, just in the last week with the amount of injuries the Rangers have dealt with. And, you know, they scored 20 runs today for the first time in 14 years.
Yeah.
They had 3 guys with 5 RBIs. They each hit a 3-run homer. That helps.
It does.
But, you know, but again, I go kind of back to the top with Langford getting on base 5 times. And with Seager only making 3 appearances but getting on base all 3 times. You're seeing Zeke Duran do stuff now.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like it's kind of there, kind of bubbling there, and you know, so but this is a big week. You know, this is kind of the last opportunity for the Rangers to you know, add players who would be eligible for the postseason. They do need a starting pitcher, and they are looking externally. So the waiver wire could be a player here for them. You know, Andrew Heaney's been designated for assignment. He's been really, really bad here since in the second half. So I don't think they want to go that route necessarily. But you know, there will be guys. There are guys in AAA right now who on other clubs who are probably performing well and have outs in their contracts, kind of like Craig Kimbrell had an out, you know, with to get out, and the Rangers granted it. And you know, but I wouldn't sleep on Jacob Latz. You know, he's I think the reason he went back for the 5th was to kind of stretch him out a little bit.
Sure.
You know, he got to 66 pitches. He hadn't been there in a while. He said afterwards, you know, now that he's been there, it won't be too hard to add on, considering where they are at this point in the season. Look, when he started, he's been good. You know, there's really no way around that.
No, he had that no-hitter in Baltimore going through 5.
Through 6, yeah.
Through 6, yeah, into the 6th, yeah.
And he wouldn't be a bad. He would line up if he were to make a start again. You know, if they stayed in rotation, his next start would be at Arizona, and he would match up pretty well against them. They're, you know, against some of their left-handed hitters, and so I wouldn't dismiss him right away because I think they can do all right. Now it looks like Rocker is not an option. Kumar Rocker is in Arizona.
Yeah.
He's not even working on Rock.
Yeah.
He's working on whatever it is they want him to work on. It's very similar to what the Rangers did in 23 with Leiter. Although they had 2 years of AA struggles with Leiter. You know, now I think they have realized, and I think they knew it from the get-go, that Kumar Rocker didn't need to be in the major leagues to open the season. He had a lot of development still to do. Well, now they're cleaning it up. They're cleaning up his delivery, hoping it'll make him more consistent with his command and throwing strikes. You know, probably getting some PFPs in there. You know, if we're being honest, they're probably hitting him little grounders and making him cover first base and do things like that. I would expect that he joins the club at some point before the season is up, but I don't think it's a guarantee. He's going to have to show them that the changes he's made work and that he's able to slide them into games and make it work in games. So he's not an immediate option, which is why I think they're looking elsewhere. And again, you know, you never know who they're going to find. Maybe they'll find an Adrian Hauser somewhere, even though they had Adrian Hauser. You know, Hauser's been a pretty good pitcher this year.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a guy like that out there, but I wouldn't sleep on Latz.
No, I'm 100% with you. And I told the people in the chat before you came on, Jeff, that, you know, you're prompting Boach, trying to say, is he a part of the starting rotation? And Boach is a little reluctant. I mean, he's pitching tonight, so I guess he is. But so he's reluctant to say that's a thing going forward. But I think tonight's performance goes a long way to, you know, giving everybody, Boach included, more confidence, Latz included, more confidence in his ability to stretch out and to do this, you know, on a semi-long-term basis, maybe for the rest of the year.
Look, the guy's got good stuff. He's got 4 pitches. What did he have? 5 strikeouts through the first 2 innings. I mean, he can when he's commanding his pitches, which he was for the most part tonight. He's tough, and the first inning run were a couple 2-out hits that he said were just mistakes. The home run there to start the 5th, maybe he was a little tired, not sure, but he only walked 1 batter. When Jake Latz is going well, he's not walking a ton of guys. 66 pitches in 4 1/3. That's pretty efficient. So he and it now. Granted, I mean it's easy to pitch when you're up 7-1 and
Sure.
and 11-1 and whatever. Yeah, I think it was 11-1 when he went back out for the 5th. But he can also pitch. This guy should be considered. Maybe it's maybe there's somebody else out there that they pick up that he can piggyback against or with or whatever. But at this point, with the way things are going here on the 27th, with 4 days left until you have to have players on your roster to have them eligible for the postseason, I don't know that the Rangers are going to put a lot of guys on waivers. Right now, I think Adolis Garcia would get picked up. I think somebody would pick up Adolis. Well, you probably can't replace Adolis. If you're looking at the team realistically right now, and if you think you're going to be a playoff team and you are in the hunt, you can't get rid of Adolis Garcia right now. You just can't do it. And so and the same thing with these relievers who are all on 1-year deals. Merrill Kelly, the MLB trade rumors wrote something today about this, and I think that it was a little short-sighted in that they, are like, well, are the Rangers contenders or are they not? Well, I mean, look at the standings. The Rangers are
very much
contenders. Yeah. Understand their general manager. This guy's not going to just throw in the towel. It's so anyway. They were thinking, Garcia, Merrill Kelly, who they just acquired, all the relievers who they just acquired. I don't see it happening at this point. I thought if this homestand had gone the other way, it had been a 1-5 or a 2-4, then maybe you would have seen some guys get put on waivers, or you wouldn't have seen it, but it might have happened.
Right.
Then it might have happened, but now I think you got to put your foot back on the gas pedal and hope that what you're seeing from these guys is legitimate finally. And that's all they've got. They hope. That's all they've got. And it's what they've had for a long time now. But maybe, just maybe, if they have they have to have a good road trip. If they don't have a good road trip, that's it. But if they have a good road trip, then it's a legit thing.
Yep, same thing we said as they started this homestand. If they have a good homestand, and we meant 5-1 or 6-0, then okay, it's legit. And so it's become more legit, but again, they got to keep going with it. Latz, by the way, this was his 4th start of the season. He's got a 3.37 ERA, and the Rangers are 3-1 now in the games that he has started. So really no real issues with him, other than the fact that they would still need to get him stretched out more, which lends a little credence to Jeff's idea about maybe piggybacking him with someone. So the Rangers are off tomorrow in, what is that, Central California, wherever Sacramento is. I guess it's northern, northern,
north
western,
central,
north central. Anyway, after that, they play the Athletics for 3 games. Let's look at the pitching rotation for those 3. As we know it to be right now, the Athletics aren't 100% sure who they're going to start in game 2, apparently. But the Rangers will start with Jack Leiter. And the way he pitched last time out, I think we'll feel pretty good about that. Followed by Merrill Kelly, ditto on what I just said about Leiter for that. And Jacob deGrom, while the game he pitched didn't go particularly well the other night, Jeff, he did his part.
Yeah, he did. And he's always trying to get better. And he was not happy with what he did. The good news is he's not facing the Angels, who've been a thorn in his side. So kind of look at look at it that way, and he'll have too much for the A's. They're a good young hitting team. They have the Wilson kid back. They have Kurtz, the
Yeah.
great young first baseman who's probably going to be rookie of the year.
Yeah, probably is.
Tyler Soderstrom has been really good. I mean, they have a lot of guys, and I'm just didn't mention Lawrence Butler, who's a dynamic player, but they're still young. They're still susceptible to guys like Jacob deGrom. So I don't have any concerns about Jacob. That first game against the left-hander, the Rangers showed something against lefties. This homestand, and they kind of got lucky tonight because Tyler Anderson's on paternity leave. He's a left-hander, so that poor Kohanowitz had
that poor kid. Oh my God, he had to wear it, man. They
didn't even go visit him.
No.
Right? It's like go give him a visit, help him.
Yeah, slow it down a little for the poor kid. He's looking over to that third base dugout, going, anybody at all. So yeah, it was a rough night for him. Rangers hit 4 first pitch homers off him, so they were jumping on him too. And Seager hit 1, Higashioka hit 1, Garcia hit 1. I guess all of them, and Peterson. So anyway, yeah. They were jumping on the young man and getting it done early and often against him. Those are all guys you love to have hit home runs, though. I mean, that is just a great group to know, veteran guys that are going to be taking it out of the yard for you. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about what's happening in the game of baseball. We'll also talk a little bit more about this team, this game, this night. It's all coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And we've still got our Die Hard sale going, I'm pretty sure. And it's the football season sale, and it's the football season's getting ready to begin. So we've still got an opportunity for you to become a Die Hard for $36. There's no better deal out there for anything, anywhere as far as content goes. And we provide so much of it, not only through these podcasts, which of course are free to you on YouTube, but also through all of the writing that we do at our website, which is alldlls.com. Jeff's there writing, probably starting to write something tonight. He's writing every day. Wrote, a real good column today about the whole Nathan Eovaldi situation. So you have got to make sure you avail yourself to that and everything else. 2 writers we have for the Cowboys, Ali and Clarence Hill. Chill, some of you know him as. Sam Nestler is, writing stuff for the Stars. I thought he had a great piece with Jake Ottinger today, and just talking about some of the things and the challenges that he was facing after the big trade last year. And then all the Mavs stuff coming down too, as they are apparently trying to clear a little room. We've got Tim Cato writing there for us. So I'm telling you, you want to make sure you do this. It's $3 a month. Get yourself, become a diehard. You get a free t-shirt too, especially on sale right now. Become a diehard today.
Yeah, and within that special, you get a free shirt, which are priced at $34.99. John is modeling a shirt tonight. I'm at the ballpark, so I'm dressed all professionally in a ball cap and
I got
shirt.
it. Look at there.
Oh, there you go. Hey-o. Yeah, I might have to wear that one tomorrow now that I know that you've worn
now
this
that
one.
I wore it. Yeah, I got it.
But yeah. So go to store.allcitynetwork.com. That's where our gear is. I heard somebody say the other day that we're soon going to have hats. It was Ben, our fearless leader, who mentioned it to David Murphy and saying that, Jason Kidd gets the first hat. I get the second hat. Then David Murphy gets the third hat.
Oh, nice. Okay. Murph. Yeah.
I'm definitely holding Ben's feet to the fire on that one. And then you get 20% off our items when you're a diehard, and that includes our Cowboys trip to Las Vegas with TrueFanTravel.com, November 15th through the 18th. You're staying at Mandalay Bay. Airfare and tickets to the game are included. Bail money is not included. Gambling money is not included. But you're going to have a good time. But it all becomes possible when you're a diehard.
Yeah, it is very possible, though, and it'll be a great time. And we appreciate you doing it. We appreciate you hanging out late with us tonight. And some of the things that caught my eye in the game of baseball today, Jeff, include that inning that the Yankees had, which, of course, when a team has an inning where they send 15 batters to the plate, we thought the Rangers sending 12 in the seventh was a lot. 15 batters they send to the plate. We thought 8 runs by the Rangers in the seventh was a lot. The Yankees scored 9. Like the Rangers, they had 8 hits. There were 3 walks in the inning. I think there was a catcher's interference. And how about this? How about this? The Nationals threw 77 pitches, Jeff.
I saw that.
Half inning.
I saw that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I saw that. It was the most since I think 2020, maybe.
Yeah,
Or not,
I think,
not 2020,
yeah.
2000, since
Yeah.
2000.
2000,
And,
I think. Yeah.
That's a crazy number. That's that's like really bad little league number.
Right.
I mean, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And to your point about how I don't know if anything can happen, but how things are just so volatile in this game. I saw a note today where the Yankees went 1-15 in a stretch against the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. So they played, the most recent 16 games they've played against those 2 clubs. The Yankees were 1-15. And they're only a half game behind the Red Sox, like 4.5 behind the Blue Jays right now.
I mean, you kind of apply that to the Rangers against the Mariners,
right?
And still not as close. The Yankees are in the playoffs right now, but
right,
they're nipping at the Red Sox heels for the first wild card spot. And look, if we want to get carried away here, that would be an interesting playoff series, because the first 2 wild card teams, they play each other, if I'm not mistaken, and so then the
third one,
the Rangeros would play, or the third wild card team would play the worst division winner,
right?
Who at this point would be the Astros. So imagine you could have wild card series of Yankees, Red Sox, and Rangers, Astros.
Yeah, how about that? Wouldn't
That'd
be
be kind of fun? Yeah.
Yeah, and of course the Astros got knocked out in the wild card round at home last year by the Tigers. So let's see if the Rangers can make it 2 years in a row for that. First things first, they've got to keep doing what they did on this homestand. So we'll be keeping you apprised, as I know you'll know all about that as well. Mets, I really thought that the Phillies were just going to run away and hide. And I wonder, Wheeler, as we've said, is out. I think he's officially out now for the season. And so I wonder if maybe this has just had a negative mental effect on this team. But the Mets sweep them. And New York has won 10 straight home games against Philly.
And they've been really good against them too.
The
Mets have been good against the Phillies all year, a la what we were just talking about. Rangers, Mariners, and Yankees, Blue Jays / Red Sox. So, that's another team the Rangers are gonna have to face in Queens or Flushing Meadows. So, it doesn't get any easier.
No.
But that is interesting. Murph and I were kind of talking about that yesterday. We were like, well, all these division leads, the NL West and the AL West, the other ones are kind of, maybe a foregone conclusion already. But then you see what the Mets did in this series to kind of narrow things in the East. But now also the Blue Jays, they did come back to win that game today against the Twins.
Yeah, they did.
We pretty much said this in AL Central 9 games, that one's done.
Yeah.
But then those Mets have gotten all the way back to 4. The Dodgers have opened it up a little bit. 2 games now on the Padres, still 1.5. They're in the mighty AL West, but the top 3 teams all won today: the Astros, Mariners, and Rangers. So again, didn't make up any ground, but hey, didn't lose any either.
Didn't lose any, yeah. Aroldis Chapman is doing great. 14 straight games now, Jeff, and not without allowing a run without allowing a hit in
Wow.
14 straight appearances by Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah, and I'm guessing some people are like, oh, why didn't you do that for the Rangers?
Yeah.
It's kind of slowly come to light here that Chapman was injured. I don't know what the injury was, but down the stretch, he was not as healthy as he as he would have liked to have been. And I think that's why you saw the Rangers have a tight leash on him in the postseason. I mean, it was 3 and done. He'd faced 3 batters, and that was
right.
It. Whatever happened happened. And he throws so hard still, and but he also he can pitch. He can pitch at 93 too. He can pitch. He has more than just the overwhelming velocity.
Right.
It's so intimidating. He's such a big man. I was shocked.
Yes, I was too.
I was shocked the first time I saw him. I could not believe it. I was like, "Good Lord, this guy is massive."
Yeah, he's huge. And I will say
he was
too,
also a very nice guy with us. I really, he he came in with a bad reputation from the way it ended with the Yankees and the domestic abuse allegations and everything like that. But he was a good teammate and seemed like a good guy with us.
Yeah, he seemed like a veteran who really would take the young guys under his wing and stuff like that. So I thought that was good. But I thought the whole time he was here, it just didn't seem like the real Aroldis Chapman. And at that point, I'm just thinking, the same old line again. Well, Father Time is undefeated. He's just, but here he's either found this fountain of youth or to your point, Jeff, he's gotten healthy. And I don't blame the Rangers for not wanting to publicize the fact that maybe they got damaged goods, especially with what they gave up. That was a lot. But who knows if Cole Reagans would have done what he's done here,
right.
But he was starting to flash that.
Yeah, now there is such a thing as a fresh start. I mean,
yep.
For Cole, he was the first round pick in 2016. It looked like it was never going to happen because of the 2 Tommy Johns, and then he shows up with a ton of velocity all of a sudden and makes the opening day roster and is okay as a reliever. And he didn't go straight to the majors at the Royals. They sent him to AAA and said, "All right, you're going to start." And then he was fantastic. He was like August pitcher of the month. Yeah, but and he's still hurt. The Royals.
Yeah, I know it.
As they stay a game ahead of the Rangers in the wild card standings, they could really use Cole Reagans.
Mm-hmm. I sure could. Look, so a couple things I want to tell you about. Jeff mentioned the conversations he had and we had with David Murphy yesterday, and these shows that we do are always out there and available on YouTube. If you didn't see yesterday's show, do yourself a favor and go find it. Murph was fantastic and a real great guest for us to have on our 1-year anniversary show. So go find that. And also we want to tell you that I think we're now about 150 subs away from 30,000. And so if you have never subscribed to the YouTube channel, click that button right now or click it the next time you're on there, because the reality is if you subscribe, that helps us. It's free for you. And we just want to get to 30,000 in our anniversary week. We didn't quite make it by the anniversary day, but we'll take the week, right? We'll take a year ago today. How many subs did we have? Not very many.
4, 5.
Yeah. Not very many. So we'll take and somebody did the math from our corporate office in Denver. It's like 82 subs a day. So we're pretty happy about that. But we're not quite there yet because we're not quite to 30,000. So let's make sure we get those last couple of 82s in there, and we'll get to 30,000. But it's been a really fun week, and like I say, I think the David Murphy stuff yesterday, Jeff, was a really fun way for us to celebrate the 1-year anniversary.
Yeah, David's such a incredible person. He was a nice player. He took advantage of the opportunities he was given and was really, with all the injuries that Hamilton kept going through and various other players, he you could count on him for 400, 450 at bats a year, and he made the most out of them. And he's going to be forever part of those first two World Series teams, and just can't say enough about him. And he knows the game.
Yes.
He really,
Yeah.
really can watch it and understand it and look at it in a lot of different ways. And he brought some of that, I thought, yesterday with the kind of at the end when he was talking about Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
The MVP race, just a little different perspective on it than you and I have given. And so it was good to see. And we'd love to have him on anytime.
Yeah, fun to have him. Fun to have you all. As always, we appreciate you. We're back tomorrow at 1 o'clock, our normal time, as the Rangers are off tomorrow. But we've got lots to talk about. Jeff and I still have not dived into the long conversation we had with Ross Fenstermaker earlier in the homestand. So we may dive into some of that tomorrow. And, of course, give you all the latest news on the Rangers and what's happening with them as they get to Sacramento. That's tomorrow when we see you again for another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.